Hello, my continuing video. Today we're going to take a look at Shadow Steelix in the Fossil Cup with Thunder Fang. Thunder Fang going to allow it to beat those water type Pokemon, trap them in as you're going to use it as a trap here as well. We're going to have the elite of Poliwrath, we're going to have the Say-Swap of that Steelix with the move Thunder Fang. And in the back we're going to have the Registeel. Registeel is going to be the Pokemon that we kind of want to protect here, as Steelix is supposed to get out those Poliwrath while still retaliating with the move Psychic Fangs. And honestly, this team worked out super well. For two battles before, I played a little bit of a different team where I used Steelix in the lead as well with the Say-Swap of Poliwrath, and in the back I had the Jellicent, which also worked out okay, but I felt like something was missing, and honestly, this team like this was definitely one of the best ones I have played so far for this meta. I think I went like 9-3 with this team, which is kind of nice, so for sure a team that I would recommend you to run as well. Here, we're going to have a very tricky scenario because Lucario is actually quite an awkward Pokemon. It's actually not even that difficult. Like, you have a good answer on the lead here for Lucario, but of course with Power Punch they do quite a lot of damage, but they swap out into the Registeel, allowing us to go for another charge move here. This is going to be the Dynamic Punch going to connect, and we're gonna be able to put them now into the range where just one charge move is enough with our Registeel. What we can try to do as well is we can try to go ahead and go for that Zap Cannon, try to debuff them. When they're gonna hit us afterwards, we're going to be fine then and don't take as much damage, but for whatever reason the opponent decides to use no shield here, which is a clear mistake, and like this we can easily win the first battle. Moving on, now we're going to see the next opponent going to have a Pelipper in the lead. That is going to be quite an awkward one for us. We're going to get kind of walled, and here with Pelipper in the lead is like one of the only occasions where I would rather swap into my Registeel compared to my Steelix, because Pelipper in the lead usually means as well that they don't have a Poliwrath in the back, because otherwise they're going to be a little bit too weak to Lantern, and so it is the safer play to play it like I do here. And also I'm gonna risk it a little bit here as well by using a shield. If I have 1 HP I would go down, but I had like 2 HP, and this allows me to go for another charge move. And if we can align ourselves, which we can, we now all of a sudden have a Registeel against our fighter and a flying type against a Thunder Fang Steelix, which honestly is going to chunk away quite a bit of health. Also, if you see it already, we're not running the standard charge move moveset. We are of course running Psychic Fangs, which is a must-have right now in this Pokemon. But no, we are not running Crunch, we are running Earthquake. And if you're wondering why is he running Earthquake, I have to say, nobody expects it. Like, nobody's expecting it, and it is so lovely to hit so many people off guard with that. So goodbye Registeel, we can move on to the next opponent. Horrible lead again. We're going to swap out straight away into our Steelix. We're going to get greeted by the Escavalier, which we can still at least do some nice damage here with the fast move plus Psychic Fangs. I want to try to bait a potential crunch here, that's why I went a little bit over, but it did not work. The opponent is not using a shield here, but I might still be able to align myself. And so what I decided to do here is I decided to use a shield onto the Drill Run. I hope they can go for the full knockout, farm down, whatever. Let's see. We're going to be able to at least go ahead and go for another Psychic Fangs, get the shield from the opponent. But now I'm forced to go for another shield, so I have my Registeel aligned against that Jellicent, and whatever they have in the back, which is going to be the Poliwrath, aligned against my own Poliwrath. This is not ideal. We kind of getting walled here for sure from the opponent. This is definitely not an ideal matchup at all, but a Dynamic Punch is coming through. We expect them to swap out eventually here, and they decide to swap out. I tried to overfarm two Dynamic Punches, which I should have not done like this. I should have went for a little bit low, like a little bit below that, try to go for an Icy Wind and later on against the opponent, but like this I'm now stuck with 2 Dynamic Punches and 1 HP, which is not going to work out at all, because basically, if the opponent uses a shield against my Poliwrath, it is game over, because whatever fast move comes through is going to be able to knock me out. And so we are going to be in a little bit of a tough spot. We're going to see here the Poliwrath coming back in. We are not going to be able to get the move off, and they can even win the CMP tie, and that's going to be it for this one. Good game to the opponent. Hard counter, nothing I can do, to be fair. Next opponent, we're going to have a Poliwrath mirror match in the lead. That's kind of nice for us, because we kind of need to get rid of this Pokemon here for our backline. But I decided to go straight for the Dynamic Punch. Basically, I think if you always go straight for the Dynamic Punch, you're gonna end up in a scenario where Thunder Fang Steelix is going to be able to beat them anyway. And so I decided to use a shield here against the opponent as well. Or not. It's going to be a Scald, so I don't have to use a shield. Now I can use a shield. Now I can even still get to another charge move, which would knock them out and would allow me to align myself. And alignment, while we have 2 Steel type Pokemon in the back, it can be quite helpful, as we are not going to have it here because we decided to give it up straight away. They swap onto Berserker, and this is one thing they have to say as well. Look at this, like, what the hell is this? Like, honestly, like, the game state is so bad sometimes. I have no idea how many fast moves the opponent got through. I don't know, like, anything, to be fair, but yeah, the opponent definitely got quite a lot of them through, because they can even go for another Close combat here, I'm not too sure if they got some free ones, I have no idea. Maybe it was the same on both sides, but on my side it was definitely kinda a tough matchup here. Anyway, we're gonna be able to go for the full farmland still with our Poliwrath, and in the back we're going to have now Registeel against the Lantern. What we can see here now is how much damage is going to be one Thunderbolt against us. Can we survive 2 of them without having to rely on the debuff? And yes, we can, and so we can go for the double focus burst, which is the way to go, allowing us to get those a little bit earlier than the Zap Cannon is going to be fine, not relying on the potential debuff on Zap Cannon, which is not guaranteed. And I have to say, I definitely did have quite bad luck with the Zap Cannon. Like, I had, I think, 2-3 times where I went for 2 back-to-back and got no debuffs, and yeah, like, I think it's like around a 9% chance, but it's kind of sad. Kind of triggers quite a lot of matchups, to be fair. Anyway, we're going to see here a fairly favorable lead matchup for us. We're going to have the Quagsire against our Poliwrath. Our backline does not want to see this Pokemon. Mud Boys are literally one of the worst possible things that you can encounter with the backline that we have, as Thunder Fang is even going to be resisted. Like, usually you would run Dragon Tail, which would be neutral against Mud Boys, but here in this case we're even weaker than anyway. So we can go for the full farm down. In comes now the Ludicolo. We decide to swap out into the Steelix, which is a little bit of a mistake here because my Registeel would have been a better choice. We know already what they had in the back, I think. And yeah, we're going to see the Psychic Fang coming through. Oh, no, actually, we didn't know what they had in the back. It's going to be the Macago in the back. And I don't know where the counting was there. Honestly, I thought I was correct with the counting that I did here, but I wasn't. So they got a free fast move in, which is going to be quite awkward because now I'm gonna have to rely on my little Poliwrath here. Rock Tomb is coming in, so our attack gonna drop. We can go for another Icy Wind to try to draw the final shield from the opponent, but we have to kind of hope and pray here right now that we can still knock them out somehow. They decide to go for a charge move. Let's see what they're gonna decide to go for. Most likely Overheat, but no, it's the Rock Tomb. It's not going to be enough, and so we can go for another Icy Wind here now against the opponent's Ludicolo, forcing the debuff, forcing the shield, winning us this battle easily now, and we can move on to the next opponent. Poliwrath is going to face off against the Mantine. Honestly, you can go for both Pokemon here. Pelipper is different than Mantine. Like, if you see me here swapping into my Steelix instead of my Registeel, for Pelipper is X to Weather Ball. Getting very fast to water type moves can be a little bit tricky for Steelix, and also Pelipper is easier to fully farm down, while you should rely more on Registeel against the Mantine, because Mantine just goes down to 1 Zap Cannon, but can actually take quite a lot of hits from the Steelix itself, so it is better to play it like I did here. I would actually do different things depending if it's a Pelipper or a Mantine, even though they're very similar, it's still a decent difference at least. Anyway, we're forced to go for another charge move here, which is not ideal, so we swap out now straight away into our Registeel. The opponent is going to swap out into their final Pokemon, being their Tentacruel. We had a little bit of lag there again, but we can go for the Zap Cannon, trying to get the debuff, and we don't get it. Oh no, we actually do get it. That's going to be great, because now we don't have to rely on any shields here at all. This is going to be great. It's going to be an Acid Spray, double dropping our defense. We are forced to go for another Zap Cannon here, which is going to be able to hopefully get another drop onto their attack. It does not, and they can go for their own charge move. I'm going to use a shield here, which in hindsight is a little bit silly, but I was still able to swap out of here, and this is going to be a good game now, because now the opponent does not have the benefit of my defense being dropped by 2 stages, and they have nothing they can do. But not only this, also their attack is going to be dropped by 1 stage now, allowing us to have a very easy matchup here with our Registeel. Even though it's Water Pulse, it does no damage. Like, look at this, it barely does any damage, and so they know as well this game is over. Moving on, we're going to have the Jellicent in the lead, and honestly, like, we're getting hardwalled the entire time here. Like, 90% of what we encountered so far was like a loss, like lead loss straight away, so like that is something crazy to note here as well. We came back from so many horrible scenarios with this team, definitely showcase again that this team has actually quite a lot of potential. Here we're going to have a matchup against that of Escavalier, where we can still go for another charge move, forcing a shield from the opponent again. Having them shieldless is always going to be great, and this is like the thing as well, which is so great about the backline. A Steelix is going to allow you to get a ton of shields, because people don't want to get farmed down and have like alignment against them if they already win the lead. But also Registeel is basically able to one-shot nearly anything in the current meta. Like, literally there are so many steel types, so many rock types, so many water types. And if you take a look at the moveset of our Registeel, it beats any kind of Pokemon in the current meta. And that's like the one thing why this Pokemon is kind of so strong right now. There is not a single Pokemon really that can deal with this thing, because you have to have either water or the rock or the steel typing, and against everything we have super effective coverage, and that's why Registeel is so strong. Also, I kind of want to take a look at Shadow Registeel eventually as well, which is completely an overkill and doesn't have any real benefits most likely, but it would be a funny one because I feel like it would be kind of an interesting one to take a look at. Anyway, we're going to see here Poliwrath going for that punchy boy there, going for that dynamic punch, as I decided to swap out into my Steelix, hoping I could catch a Thunderbolt. As you can see here, worked out great, didn't it? We're forced to use a shield now. We have to hope as well that we can go for the full farm down, which I doubted at this point, but actually Steelix is going to be able to go for the Thunder Fang down, and in comes the Sandslash again. Do they know about Earthquake? Let's find out together. They do not, and so Steelix is going to be single-handedly able to completely destroy the opponent here, as they're even going to have a Manta in the back. Like, we do so much damage against them here with that Thunder Fang. I can go for these Psychic Fangs as well, and the opponent just doesn't know where to go, and they decide to forfeit. Second to last opponent, we're going to have Lostheart in the lead. Again, horrible lead. Like, basically, we lost most of the leads here today. We're gonna get out the opponent's Ferrothorn, which is not ideal for us either, but let's see what we can do with it. We're gonna be able to take that Power Whip and try to go for that Earthquake to try maybe even to align ourselves, but sadly, Earthquake is barely not enough to really knock out the opponent's Ferrothorn, and also it kind of puts it out of the range where I would be able to really do anything here, I think, so I would never use a shield here, right? No, I would not. And so I could go for the counter down, I could have even went for the full lock-on down, but I went for the counter down, which is okay. We can let the move go through. It's going to be the aerial ace doing around like 50% of our health. It's not really that crazy. And we can overcome up to the dynamic punch as I swap on into the Credilli. And here, having the dynamic punch still stored is honestly so valuable, and you don't even know it. Why? Because this matchup here is very likely going to take quite a long time. The opponent has some charge move pressure, we have some charge move pressure. While the opponent's moves are all resisted, they're gonna get there quite fast, and yeah, basically we have only nuke moves and it kind of takes a little bit of a longer time to get to them. And so we are going to be kind of here in a scenario where we're going to be able to get all the shields from them now. But not only this, we're also going to see here the switch is slowly coming up, and I can swap out, get the dynamic punch onto them, win this battle, and even though we got hard rolled in the lead, this doesn't matter, we can still knock them out here as the Lostheart has nowhere to go. Final battle for today. Again, this team was amazing so far. Would really appreciate it if you leave a like on the video and subscribe if you have not already. It is free, it is supporting me quite a bit, and so really feel free to do so. Anyway, we're going to see here the Ice Ring coming through, the opponent going to call it one. Sometimes I go for Dynamic Punch, sometimes I go for Ice Ring. There is no real kind of rhyme or reason behind it. They go for the Scald, there is also no reason behind it, but they're going to get the attack drop onto me, which is quite awkward because now I am in a spot where I'm forced to swap out now. Very likely. Let's see what they're going to swap into. It is going to be that Jellicent, and I decide to stay in, I guess, because we have all the lag here, and I swap out now, which I don't know if it was smart or not, because who knows how much energy the opponent has when the game is playing out like this. They're going to swap out though into the Ferrothorn anyway, which is going to be quite beneficial, but I don't know if it's going to help us out in the long run. What we're going to try to do here is we're going to try to go for the Earthquake, get some damage onto them, honestly, that is fine for me, but we have to hope that somehow we are still going to be able to win this battle with our Registeel later on. We are going to be forced to go into our Poliwrath here as well to try to go for the... Oh no, actually decided to go into my Registeel first to try to get some energy and then swap out afterwards to go for the full counter down against them, but let's see if this is going to work. They go for the Flash Cannon, allowing us to now swap out, get the counter down, and now it's down to go for the Icy Wind the entire time. I try to just drop the opponent's attack as far as possible here, just to try to survive those moves a little bit easier with our Registeel. And also Registeel is close to another Zap Cannon, which might allow us to get the debuff onto their attack, which would definitely benefit us. They have to go for a Surf here to knock us out, which is kind of great. So we're going to take at least like 40 energy from their energy bar. We're going to be able to go for the Zap Cannon, 66% chance to drop the opponent's attack. We are not going to get it at all here. And it's going to make it a little bit more awkward because now I'm forced to go for a shield. It's going to be the Shadow Ball. I will try to go for another charge move as well to drop their attack, because after looking at the damage that we're going to see here right now, I am not too sure if we're going to be able to win this battle. This is going to be very close if they can two-shot me here with a Shadow Ball or not. If they can even go for a Shadow Ball and a Surf and knock me out with that. But we can get, again, no debuff from the opponent. That is quite ridiculous, as we will see here, the opponent being able to go for that Shadow Ball. We can barely reach the Focus Blast in time. We even over-tap by a little bit there somehow. But this is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.